How's it going, folks? I'm Cody Campbell with High Ground Gaming, and today we are unboxing and reviewing the HyperX Armada 25 gaming monitor. I'm going to start by walking you through the specs, then I'm going to open it up, let you take a look at what comes inside. After that, we'll go to the review portion where I'll give you my thoughts on it, and then we'll go to High Ground Gaming's final score. Stick around. So there are actually two versions of the Armada. There's the Armada 25, which is the one we're reviewing today, which is a 24.5-inch 1080p IPS screen. Then there's also the Armada 27, which is a 27-inch 1440p IPS screen. The Armada 25 has a 240 Hz refresh rate and a 1 millisecond response time. It has a 16:9 aspect ratio, a 1000:1 contrast ratio, 400 nit brightness, and it is G-Sync compatible. In terms of inputs, it has one display port and two HDMI 2.0 ports. Another interesting thing about this monitor is that it actually comes with an ergonomic arm mount as opposed to the usual standing mounts that most monitors come with. That's about it for the specs though. Let's open it up. All right, so as you can see, we've got lots of goodies compartmentalized in here. A lot of paperwork was right on top. That all kind of fell out right away. This one's glued in a little bit, otherwise it probably would have fallen too, or taped on. Let's see what else we got. Mounting plate, I'm guessing. Yep, mounting plate, screws. Another part of the arm. The way this is set up kind of reminds me of those old Christmas calendars, Advent calendars, where you just open one up every day. But we're just going to open it all up at once. All right, there's the back plate. Looks real sturdy, real heavy. That's nice. Looks like that's the tightening bolts to go underneath. All right, here's the cables. We've got power cable. Looks like a bright red DisplayPort cable. Black HDMI 2.0 cable. Then here we have the bolt. Oh, I thought the other thing was the tightening bolt, but it looks like there's one already attached here, so I'm not really sure what that other one's for. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, this will just basically fit on the edge of your table like this. You tighten it up from the bottom, then this is the mount. You put the arm on it and attach the monitor. Okay, so it looks like it also comes with some mounting plates for if you don't want to use the clamp. Basically, you'll just put one of these on the bottom of your desk, one of these on the top, and then you'll actually drill a hole through your desk or table or what have you, and that way you can just mount it directly to the table instead of clamping it on the edge. The downside to that is that it will, put a hole in your table, which a lot of you probably won't want. Some people like it. I usually just use the clamp. All right, so here's the monitor itself. This is incredibly light. I just want to point that out right off the bat. I've tested quite a few monitors, and this is the lightest one I think I've ever held. Okay, and there it is. You can see you've got a thin plastic bezel along the edge. Looks like about 1/4 inch or so on the actual screen itself. Back of the monitor's pretty basic design. We've got a little control thumbstick on the back right corner there. I/O again, it's pretty simple. We've got the power plug-in right there. Then we've got the two HDMI 2.0 ports and the display port, and really nothing else. I'm gonna go ahead and set it up real quick on the table so you can take a look at it. All right, that went together pretty quickly. As you can see, this mounting arm is very large. This is an extra extension attachment here. You don't actually have to use this. You could loosen up these screws here. And you could choose to put this directly onto here if you want the mounting to be a little less dramatic, a little less severe. It doesn't need to go out quite that far, but it's cool that they have this extra extension. The back plate that came with, I think that was in case you want to VESA mount it on a different kind, because the one it comes with just snaps right into the back, super easy. This piece seems to be somewhat hydraulic. You can move it or adjust it and it just does it automatically. You don't need to be fiddling with tabs and stuff all the time. It rotates this way, side to side, up and down. So you can really get a lot of range of rotation with this. You can also rotate it like that. If you want to try and get it as flat to the back as possible, you can kind of put this off to the side and put this right on the very back of your desk, or, you know, adjust it so that it's angled to the side of a second monitor, which is more straight on. You really can get this in pretty much any position you want it to. It also, with the extension arm, goes very high, which is nice. So you really can go either very, very low, like to the surface of the desk, or up quite high, get it pretty much wherever you want it to be. So the arm, I think, is already a winner. This is a very nice arm. I know that HyperX is also selling attachments, so that if you want to attach a second arm to the same mounting pole, you can do that. There are also some pretty good cable management tracks on here. I was a little confused. At first I had this flipped around because I assumed the cable management tracks would be on the back, but then I realized it has to be set up this way to click into the monitor. So the cable management tracks are on the front here, which I find a little odd, especially since they switched to being on the back on this one. So that's a little confusing to me. Maybe I did something wrong. I'm not really sure what I could have done wrong here, but I'll have to take a second look at that and try and figure it out. But now it's time to actually test the monitor. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook this up to my computer. I'm gonna play some games on it, and we'll be right back with the review portion. All right, folks, I've spent some time with the HyperX Armada 25 gaming monitor, and I'm ready to talk about it. But before I get into that, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, I'm gonna start out by talking about the build quality, like I usually do. I'm gonna quickly glaze over the mounting arm, since I already talked about that a lot during the unboxing, and I don't really wanna waste your time by going through that a whole bunch, but I'll just say that it snapped onto the desk easy. It works great, and I've really enjoyed my time with it. The monitor itself has a sleek black construction, didn't come with any dead pixels. It doesn't have any lighting or anything like that, and there's no colors on it, but I do feel like it is a nice neutral tone that'll fit in well without really standing out in any given setup. The kind of downside to the build is the fact that it doesn't have any USB ports, it doesn't have a headphone jack, and it doesn't have speakers. That means that there's really no way of getting any sort of audio through the monitor. So you're gonna have to run some other audio solution directly from the PC, which I know can be inconvenient if you don't have your PC in an easy to access place. The color and picture on it is very good. It's a very, very bright monitor. The 400 nits is likely more than anybody's going to need. I think I kept it right around 70%, and it was plenty bright for me, and I enjoy a pretty bright monitor, so that was good. The color is a little bit of a mixed bag though. Right out of the box, right when you set it up, it's very impressive. I actually like it better than my main monitor that I normally use from Acer. And I was just generally very, very impressed with that. But once I kind of got into tinkering, I noticed that there's really not a lot else to it. There's a handful of presets, and there's one that lets you modify just the RGB scale, but that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of customization that you can do with this. For picture, you can adjust brightness, contrast, black scale, and sharpness, but again, there's really not a lot of customization there. So I'm kind of in two minds about this, because I know that there's a lot of people out there who really enjoy just plugging in a monitor and using it, not really having to tinker with the picture at all. And for those people, I think this is great. But if you're the kind of person who really wants to get in there and make sure your picture looks exactly the way you want it, there's really not a lot of options that come with this monitor. So for those people, you might want to look for something else. Now let's talk about the gaming performance. So to test this monitor, I played some Halo Infinite. This is a 1080p monitor with 240 Hz refresh rate and a 1 millisecond response time. And to me, that says FPS games. And so that's what I wanted to test it on. I was very, very happy with its performance here. It had no screen tearing, no ghosting whatsoever. I did notice a tiny bit of motion blur in one or two areas, but honestly, those were just probably areas where the FPS took a dive because my graphics card couldn't keep up, and honestly probably had very little to do with the monitor itself. It's also worth noting, again, that the monitor has G-Sync, so anybody who's using an NVIDIA graphics card is going to benefit that. If you don't know what G-Sync is, basically it just sort of lines up your graphics card with the monitor. So every time your graphics card produces a frame, your monitor is going to refresh the screen to match it, rather than them sort of generating frames and showing frames at different paces, which can cause some issues. The only downside to its gaming performance, once again, really comes down to the settings. There just aren't a lot of gaming specific features on this gaming monitor. It does have a crosshair that you can put on there, and there's an FPS counter. And as I mentioned before, there is a gaming color preset, but that's pretty much it. It's not that any of those features are particularly bad, mind you. It's just that I know that there are other monitors out there well within this price range that have a lot more features for people who really want to get some gaming customization out of their monitor. Other than that, there really isn't a whole lot else to say about it. So without further ado, let's get down to the verdict. So the HyperX Armada 25 gaming monitor MSRP's at $449.99. That is quite expensive. Now, Asus, Acer, and Alienware all make 1080p monitors that are 240 Hz refresh rate, 1 millisecond response time, and have NVIDIA G-Sync, and all three of them have those monitors for over $100 cheaper than what HyperX is selling the Armada 25 for. The Armada 25 does have one major advantage, and that is the ergonomic mounting arm, which does help offset the cost a little bit, because if you're going to get one of those other monitors and you want an ergonomic mounting arm, which is a big improvement, I promise you, then you're going to have to buy that separately, and so that's going to drive up the overall cost of what you're spending. It still doesn't quite make up the difference, though, in our opinion. So with all that in mind, we're giving this a 3.5 out of 5. The build quality and the performance are both very good on this monitor. It's really driven down a little bit by the features that are available, or the features that aren't available in this case, and by the price. If you can find this on a sale, or if HyperX decides to drop the price after we publish this video, then it's a good buy. I would definitely recommend this to people who don't really want to tinker with their monitors too much and just want a really good monitor that's good to go and can appreciate a good mounting arm that will free up space on their desk and place it in front of their face so they're not looking down all the time. These are all great reasons to buy this monitor, assuming that it's priced appropriately. But why don't you go ahead and drop down into the comments and let us know what you think. If the Armada 25 were priced a little bit more reasonably, would it be something that you're looking at? Or do you think that the lack of features is kind of a no-go no matter what? While you're at it, please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. We've got a lot more content coming really soon, and we'd hate for you to miss any of it. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Happy gaming.